Hey, this is Karen Ann Archer and welcome back to my studio. Today we're going to finish working on our first baby's Christmas part on hands and feet of baby's first Christmas painting. We're going to hopefully get done with this video series by Christmas, but we're going to do our best. I did not clean my palette, so let me show you. I had a backup palette, so I've got to scrub my other one. I'll show you my colors today. We have titanium white, Van Dyke brown, alizarin crimson, burnt sienna, and yellow ochre. So that's what we'll be working today. Today we're still doing just the toning. And don't forget your little Q-tips. Rosemary number 2 round brush. I'm going to dip it off. Get our Viva paper towels. We want that middle tone, which is our burnt umber. I do like to add just a little bit of alizarin crimson in there. And remember, we're going to get this down to a wash, so we're going to add Gamsol in it. I'm going to get it pretty runny. Okay, I think that's good. Dry that off a tad. And we want to get our dark color, which is the Van Dyke brown. And a little bit, again, I like that alizarin crimson in there. Give us that darkness. Give it, warm it. Alright, we're going to start on the hands. We'll work on this one right here. So we really don't have a whole lot to do. I want to go in with the medium tone. And if you can see right here on the picture, it's really dark right here in this area. And then you have a light underneath down the arm. So we've kind of got that in, but we're going to go in and just shaping it up. There's a little, remember there's a line on his arm. It runs like that. So we want to kind of get that shape in now. That line of his arm. We're going to kind of just draw that in. Go around the ball. And remember, your arm is curved, so we want to really get that curved in. Now we're going to bring this all the way to his knuckles. So we're going to put the knuckles here. So he's showing 4 of his little bitty pudgy hand. 4 of his little knuckles on his pudgy hand. Now this finger, as you notice, is really light. So you're going to go here to here. Okay, now we're going to go back and kind of shaping the hand back up. Comes up, over. I'm watching how this line right here goes on his hand. Now, okay, I think we can go back in. Now your arm is still round, so we want to, if you're going on your arm this way, you want to paint that way. If you're going on your hand this way, you want to make sure those brush strokes are lining up in the right way. So that kind of makes sense in your anatomy. If I'm painting my arm, his fist is kind of like this. So we're going to go this way to consider this is a round, and this way to make it round that way. You don't want to keep it, those brush strokes all in the same way. Really helps out. Now we're going to go back, dip into to put this dark roll in his hand to his arm. I'm just going to shadow that in. I'm going to go back up here and put this dark shadow back in and decide where this arm's going to come up so it comes around. So I'm going to put that back in. And just hand up to where we want it. And put that shadow in. Now, the shadow kind of stops here, so we're going to go back. I went a little bit too far. Get that nice little Q-tip. And this side kind of stops right here at the hand, almost to that crease line. So I'm going to lighten that back up. And it's really light, actually, under his hand. So we're going to try now. Keep in mind, since last video, this has had a little bit of time to dry, so I may have to rub a little bit out a little harder. Sorry for the shaking. We'll leave a slight little line there. Okay, kind of like that. Now we're going to go in with the... Now today, the lightest one, we're going to kind of leave it at a middle tone. So to get that middle tone, we're going to see if we can add a little bit of yellow ochre in there. And we really do want to keep it at almost a wash. So I'm just kind of getting a middle tone in between this light color and this medium color. So I've just added the yellow ochre. And we're going to come in and kind of, still a little bit dark, put it here. We're going to put a little bit right there. We're going to keep this really light. Now this is a darker area, so we're going to put it here. In a minute we're going to do some blending. Alright, while we're here, we're going to come up on this shoulder just a little bit. Kind of decide on where that shoulder and that neck's going to be. Keep in mind, I'm going up and around. Okay. Now I'm back off where I want to be. It's supposed to be down on the hands, but I'm going to kind of work it in here. Alright, while we're right here by the hand, we're going to go ahead and put in the increase of his underarm. Make sure that kind of that anatomy looks really correct. Okay, kind of like how that was going. While we have that medium tone, there's a bit of darkening from here to there, and I'm going to show you how we blend all this. Down through here is a little bit here. Okay, we'll kind of line up his anatomy a little bit. Into the underarm. We're going to do some blending. Okay, as far as that hand, that's where I'm going to kind of leave right now. Actually, we're going to go back and put a little bit of the crease of the fingers in, so we kind of are aware where they are. Okay, now I'm going to trade up to a dry brush just to do some blending. Actually, I've just got a cheap Walmart brush just to do some blending. I'm going to set the palette down for a minute. I'm going to blend some of this out. Now, as I blend, I'm going to have a dry brush, trying to keep it dry, and just blend in some of the paint, because remember, we're not at the exactly painting stage. We're just trying to get shadows and darknesses in, and we kind of want to not have any really sharp lines, so we're just kind of doing some blending. Again, you can see me, I'm sure I'm showing you how much I'm wiping. There's some shadow there. Now, when I talk about pushing and pulling, you see I have the white line there, but I'm just kind of pushing that line out, wiggle it out, so it just all blends. Do a little wiggle wiggle. So we want to blend all this in today. Now, I have some, again, if you feel like it's not blending well, it's because you need to dry your brush. Almost every time you take away from the painting, the brush away from the painting, dry it. You want to keep it super dry so you can get that blending in. And you can just do some. Now I don't want this real sharp edge on his shoulder. So we'll go back and finish that later. Not really interested in having a sharp edge there either. Now back to the hand where we're supposed to be. I'm going to come down and remove. Just with my dry brush. Now, this is really light and it rolls up into dark. So we're going to start over here in the light and roll upwards. So I'm not dragging the paint down into the light area. I'm kind of going up into the dark area and removing. So I'm staying with a dry brush down here and pushing upwards. Now remember, I'm not doing a straight line. I still want to keep that line kind of like a curve area. Imply that that's going to be a round hand, because those brush strokes, remember, what? They matter. Okay, we're going to sharpen that up just a hair. I do kind of want to leave that a little bit sharp. Now, have you noticed I've gotten down here in my lighter area and I don't want to be? Back to that Q-tip. You're going to see me bend over a little bit. I've got that Gamsol on the floor. I really don't want it really close to my face because, like I said, it does have that odor. Even though I can't smell it, it's probably not the best thing to breathe in. And today I am missing my glove on my left hand, which I usually keep it on there because this towel is going to get really saturated. But I am out of gloves today and have not been to Walmart. And my hands get a little bit sensitive to it. So if you start feeling any kind of rashes or anything like that, it's pretty much look at your Gamsol. Your Gamsol may be irritating your hand. And the way to cure that is a lot of people wear rubber gloves to paint with. I don't get a lot of paint on this hand, so I really don't like the glove on there. Because I honestly don't like the feeling of gloves. That and the fact that at work, in the factory, I have to wear gloves all day. So, now, you see how the finger went down and I pushed downwards. Now, when I'm up here on the knuckle, I'm going to like do little whoop-de-woo half circles here and kind of keep it round. And I'm going to go back in and make sure this is round. I'm going to lighten that back up a tad bit here. More you get done at this stage, the easier the painting's going to be. Now, notice right here on this part of the knuckle is really light in the photo, so I'm actually going to go down into the Gamsol this time, blob it off a little bit on the towel, and I'm going to lighten this area here back up a tad on his hands. And remember, just going to, the hands are going, or I'm sorry, the fingers are going this way. I had to take a little bit of an intermission today to go pick up my daughter from work. She's a little camera shy today. She just got off work and says, "Ooh, I'm sweaty." So I got her just to prove the fact that you can walk away from your oil paints and return right back to them. We'll be back in the studio. I also had to get gas, so I'm going to be out for a little bit. So see you back soon. Hi, we're back in the studio for a little quick outing. I hate the gas station. I hate getting gas. I hate filling it up. I miss the self-service days, but alright, here we go. Let's see where we left off. Okay, we were at blending. So we're going to go back, see? Everything's not a bit dry, so go right back into where we were. Taking out hard lines because we want to blend it in. Now, I want to go from the dark to the light. I want to drag it this way to blend it out. Blend it out into the light. There we go. So I'm pretty pleased with how that looks so far. Alright, I wanted to come back in. Now I've dipped it in Gamsol a little bit. I'm drying it just a tad. And I'm going to come back in here and lighten this back up a little bit. Now I'm going to dry the Gamsol back off. And where that's made a sharp line, we're going to blur that back out. Now, if you push down, it still has some Gamsol in it. So I'm able to really go back in and change that. Okay, now dry it as best I can. And if you have to get another dry brush, by all means do so. And when you're dipping in the Gamsol, remember, just the dip. Dip and dry. And we're going to come back and clean this little ball on the hat up to make sure we're kind of keeping it round the best we can. Alright, now we have a little bit, actually want to change brushes because I'm going to get a little bit of a, it is a 0 short flat because we got some flat areas in here. And I am going to dip it in the Gamsol. And there's some highlights here where I'm going to just wipe out a little bit. And that's not really working as well as I wish it to. So, switching over to a Q-tip. You gotta think of these Q-tips a lot like a paintbrush. Just remember this line in the knuckles, you want it to line up. Because if you don't have that line for those knuckles lining up the right way, and then like a straight line, you're going to cause the anatomy of the hand to look off. So it can be diagonal, but you just want to kind of make sure they're straight. Okay, we're going to come down here and dry that up a little bit. Feel free to use these Q-tips. Remember, they're at Walmart. I found them at Walmart. And I'm just going to blend a little bit. It's dry. It doesn't have any Gamsol in it, so I'm just pretty much rubbing and blending. A little extra blending. Come back up in here, blending out some of these lines. Okay, I'm pretty pleased with that one hand, except, let's see if I can. Yeah, just a detail of some lines here. Because in here, the light kicks, so we want to make sure we get those lighted areas. So I wanted to go back and switching over to that dry Q-tip. Oh, not so dry. Let's try another one. Not as dry as I wanted it to be. There we go. Well, drop my brush. Alright. I'm going back and looking at lines of light. And I'm not able to remove this paint that from the last video because it's already dry. Because I have not really worked on this. I'm going to lighten this up just a hair more. So I'm just taking this brush that has Gamsol on it and rubbing it on there. Taking my dry Q-tip. I'm going back and rubbing some more of it out. Feel free to give a little bit of... You can also take your paper towel, your finger in your paper towel, and go to wipe it a little bit. Alright, let's see what we're at. Now, there's still a little bit more lighted area here, so I'm going to come back and lighten that up on these knuckles. Okay, so that way when we really get to painting, that's going to be so much help. There's also a cast of light just on where that arm is meeting the body. Like almost a glow. So we're going to try to come back in and put that in. And there we go. And I'm just kind of pushing it down. Let's swap brushes. This brush is not cooperating very well with me. Let me see. I really like that round. Let's go. Actually, I've got a longer flat here. No, that's not working either. Switch and back to a Q-tip. Yep, Q-tip's not working either. Again, it's all trial and error. For some reason those brown brushes are my go-to, so we're going to go back to it. I'm not getting enough Yinzal on my brush. Is probably the... And I've splattered. I ain't worried about no splatters. Just let that dry. Okay. Alright, like I said, it's a small glow, so I'm not really worried about it too much. I am going to see if I can go in right here and remove. Like I said, it's dry, so I'm not going to get too much. Alright, I am pretty pleased with that. We can kind of leave the rest of his body the way it is, I do believe. We might go clean up his belly a tad bit. We're going to go back into the medium color here. The medium in between the, I guess, actually the white. White, it would be white to the brown, so this is in between there. And I'm just going to come up and put a little bit of color here and cast it down. And do a little bit up from the belly. A little bit here. Here. There. Okay. I'm going to rinse that brush and dry it. Now, we're going to go back to the cheap Walmart one. Remember, this one's good and dry. I'm going to just blend. Dry and blend. Keeping that shut. Now remember, this belly's round, so... Now, I want to go the opposite way. Kind of. Now, here's a good time to use that paper towel. After my finger, I'm just going to blend that out. That looks good. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Go back in here and blend the color we just put in this arm. Now, there's a lot of light in there. And unfortunately, due to filming time, I was unable to finish this before that other video paint dried. So I'm not going to get this as white as I would prefer it, but we'll fix it with paint later on. Like I said, you know, it's not a whole lot of, oh, I've ruined the whole painting. There's not ruining the whole painting, you know. Paint, easily corrected. Happy little mistakes, as Bob Ross used to say. If you notice, I'm just using the towel. Use whatever you got to do your blending. Towel works pretty good. Just want to blend that out a little bit. Alright, let's go back and use this hand now. Okay, I want to set that down, dry it. Then go back to the number 2 round brush. I'm going to go into the dark color, which unfortunately, this palette, I had to switch. I had to look, it's drying a little bit on me because of this wood palette. When you get a new wood palette, you need to put a lot of linseed oil, at least a couple coats of it, let it dry. I wasn't able to do this with this palette, and my other palette I was using on the last video dried on me, and I have to scrape it clean. When you get lazy or run out of time on your supplies and your not caring for your brushes and your palette, it may come back and haunt you. So we're going to take it and actually draw now. So his fingers are going to go all the way down to here until they roll over. So I'm just going to kind of put those in. We're going to have 4 fingers, and the thumb actually kind of went up. So I'm going to kind of draw at this moment. Silly, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure we got all 4 fingers in. There's a line of darkness here, so I'm just kind of on the knuckle. And then we'll go back and light that up. Okay, this is as much darkness as I want. Actually, since we're in a wash, I'm just wiping it, really not putting it back in Gamsol. And we'll go on these knuckles. Just put a little bit here. Putting the paint on there, then we're going to do blending to rub it in. The background's dark. I'm going to go back in this dark. I'm actually going to draw by putting the background in. I'm pushing the background into the baby's hand, so that way it kind of just draws it in. Background's going to be really dark through here. So I'm going to go ahead and just put some of the background in. Kind of help us along. Then we're gonna push. Have that light there. It's casting a light, so kind of don't want to put anything in between that light and the hand. We'll paint that in later. But let's go ahead and push the background into the hand and draw it in like that. Okay, we'll work on this background a little bit more in a minute. We got enough of it on there, we can work on the hand now. Okay, I am going to clean that brush. You know, you can mistreat your Walmart brushes, but by all means, don't mistreat your good brushes. You really want to keep them. Okay, we're going to go in and do some blending here. Okay, we're going to take and just blend this color here for his hand. Alright. Now I'm going to start removing a lot of these sharp lines. Is what we're going to get rid of. Now I'm looking back and forth, comparing. Constantly my eyes are going from his hand to here. And it's good to have these 2 examples, because this one's a tad bit bigger than this one, that I can look up and down. Okay, I'm going to go back to my little cheap Walmart brush. And I'm just kind of working those fingers into those lines of where we wanted those stopping lines we put. Now, again, I'm going to set that palette down on my hand, free up my hand to get to my paper towel. And that's exactly why we went to gloves on. So we're going to just move and wipe. Okay, now I'm going to go into the back part of the hand, which has got a lot of light, so we're going to remove. Dip it in Gamsol at this moment because it's not removing. There we go. Now, trying to make sure I show you how much I wipe my hand. And if we want to later, when we get back to painting, again, we can push the background into the baby's hand to draw out the background. Right now, kind of like, remember, these little knuckles, it's like here, this part. and they're going this way, so I'm pushing it this way. Even at this stage, keep these brush strokes going the way they need to go. It really keeps that flat when you need it flat. Up here and just blend his little thumb out, because his thumb kind of just takes off into the background. I'm going to dip a little bit more into the Gamsol, dry, just to put that thumb back in there. Loosen that up a little bit. Okay. Now, I think I've gotten that area a little bit too dark, too light. I'll stay with my little cheap Walmart brush. I'm going to go into that medium tone. And then there's some highlights here I just want to put back in the medium tone. On them knuckles. Okay. That I'm going to dry and blend. Now, them fingers are round, so I'm making little half circles. You imagine really small, but that's the movement I'm doing. Just doing it really small. Again, up here, same thing. Just doing it really small. Okay. Now, again, I'm pushing the background in, goes up, and just a tad there on that hand. The baby's hand's not really that long. So I'll kind of, there we go. Getting pretty pleased with how that looks. Generally, I'm going to go back over and just take a glimpse at the top, see if there's any more darker areas we need to put back a little darker, which I'm going to stay a little bit more in the medium tone right here on the neck. I'm going to let it go a little bit darker. A little bit more on this side. There's not a whole lot underneath the arm, just a hair. Right underneath that belly, just a bit. There. You notice I'm not drying because where it's a wash, I'm not drying my brush off because I can just go back and lightly, swoosh, 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 real lightly, and it'll dry that up. Okay, I'm pretty happy with the hands. Now we can move on down to the feet. Now, hands has got a lot of details. These feet, even though they're so cute, we want to kind of leave it less detail. We just want to imply that things are there. So we're going to give him a foot here, a big toe here. His foot comes around, and we're going to keep this really not much detail. So we're going to take the medium. I'm in that medium range right here. I'm just kind of drawing the shape in. This kind of little foot goes out, this little toe on there, and that's really all you see is like just the big toe because you're getting the side view. So I'm gonna go back, kind of making that round. Again, I don't want a lot of details down in here. The reason you don't want the details down there is because you want people to like look at it and their eyes to stay in this realm here. If you give details here, you're going to run them off the page and you're going to lose their attention. It's all about how long can you keep their attention on your painting. So we're just going to come back and lighten this up a little bit. Remember, I'm just going back on this stage. Rubbing, drying, rubbing, drying, rubbing, drying. More you do, more you dry it, see, more it lifts off. And it's a slow process. I do kind of want to now blend that little line there. Blend all that in. Not a lot of detail. Okay, the reason I did this is because this area is really light. It is light, but there's some dark areas here. So kind of just at this point want to dip it back into the Gamsol. You want to know his foot's there. And his foot is in a little bit of an odd shape here. So we're going to kind of let it be like that. I don't want a lot of attention down here. We might drop, there was some lights down in this area, but what I'm going to do is we're going to leave those lights out and make this area right here a lot darker than the photo. Because again, I don't want your attention down here. I don't want your eyes to fall off the painting and lose your interest. I want to keep that interest. For now, I'm going to lighten it just a hair at this stage. But when we go back in painting, we're going to keep it dark. So we're talking about dark, and we're almost done with the feet as well. We're going to go back, get a little bit more of that Van Dyke brown, and I put some of the, I believe that's burnt umber. No, burnt sienna. Apologize for that. A little yellow ochre. Now, I'm going back in and I'm going to put some of the background. We're going to play with the background. Remember, I'm going to keep things dark down here. And just applying feet down here. Which is kind of like the abstract rolls. This area here is actually really dark. I'll go ahead and fill that in. And some of our... Now you can see a blanket in this. I think we're just going to leave the blanket out. We'll work on the background just being different shadows. Now since this is getting really dark right here next to that, and you may lose your line of the baby's leg, we're going to lighten that back up. Until we'll go back on the painting stage and decide how much lightness we want where. So I'm going to do a little light area here if I can go in and put it back in a little bit. And I actually just blending this out. I'm going to keep a little bit away from the lights because we do want to, they're going to kick off this glow, so we don't want to make it dark around them. We're going to lighten it up just around the lights so we can put in that pretty glow later on. So we're going to, again, I'm putting that palette down because I'm pushing and pulling color at this point. I'm afraid you can't see what I'm doing. See, it's going to be really light, so we're going to leave that dark down here. Alright, we're going to finish up a little bit more background down here. Blend all this in. Okay, go up toward that hand. Umber. And there we go. Okay. I think that's it for today. Little keynote, take care of your supplies. Wash your palette. I'm not sure if I can show you my other one. Yeah, I didn't clean it, so I'm going to be scraping it. So make sure you do scrape your palette clean. When you're doing the wood palettes, remember there's a linseed oil barrier in that. This is a real cheap palette, so I'm not really that concerned. It is good to put some money into your palette. This is where we're going to stop today. We've got the arms in. All we have left is the face, so we'll do that in the next video. It'll be probably really short, and we'll get on to painting after that. Thank you for coming back and seeing my studio today, and don't forget to clean your brushes and scrape your palettes. See you next time.